We are hopefully live. Hello, hello, hello. Zoom in. I see the green light on. That's good here. Let's move this over to this side so we have a nice... How's everybody doing? Okay, so everything looks good on that front. Do you guys hear me? There's no sound. There's no sound. Good afternoon. Do you guys hear me? I don't hear sound. Oh. I don't see sound showing up, so. Oh, you hear me? Oh, wow. Okay. And you hear synthesizers, yes? Let me see here. Let me make sure I've got I'm so nervous about since I've had... You hear audio too, right? Yay! Okay. Well, I don't hear it when I'm listening back there, but I'm not going to even worry about what's going on. No music? You hear music, right? Okay, good. Yay! Okay, well, welcome. I don't have things set quite right for the... But who cares? Welcome. I tell you, I will have this... I keep working on it to figure it all out. But sounds good. Good. Oh my, oh my. So welcome to the Saturday live stream. We have a lot to talk about. There's all sorts of cool things. My gosh, what a week. I'm not even sure where I want to start. There's such cool stuff going on. Let me see how I do my perspective. So I think, let's get the full screen thing here like this to this. We're going to be talking about, yeah, I don't have menu bus working. I can't get it. I'm wanting it to be where I could have menu bus give me the input for microphone and everything else, but I'm not routing it. I'm routing it through Soundflower still because I need to find a system where I can have this microphone connected and I can have any apps running and it's all routed audio-wise. But welcome. It's good to see everybody joining up. Wow, good. Good groups already showing up. So finally, let's do this. Oh, I got to share links. I haven't shared the link with everybody. So let me share the link on Facebook. I forgot all my normal housekeeping duties I have to do, right? So let's go over here to Facebook. Tell the good friends there that we're chatting away. Hello, all my friends on Facebook. Let's see here. You guys go away. Live stream happening now. And of course it shows last week's live stream thumbnail because that's how it works. It's never updated. And then let me go over here. Why don't I see what's going on here? That's strange. It's not showing up here. Wow. I've published it and it's supposed to be happening. 1 second. Let me just figure this out. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the stream is happening there. Pause. I can't pause. Okay. Let me see here. Hey, if you want to, oh, right here. One second, I'm doing my housekeeping. I always have to do this every week. If you want to chat, join me on Facebook or on YouTube. Oh, all these. Okay. So we got that going on. What a week. What a week. So let's see here. Yeah. It's been warm. It's warming up. They're projecting Wednesday and Thursday here in Portland to be possibly 107 degrees, which I do not recall the last time it was 107 or 108 degrees. It's insane. When's Cello's coming? Cello's will be by the end of the year. Please be patient. I've got a lot going on. That is going to take some time to create. And we'll be talking about that. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. Yeah, 107 in Portland, Oregon, if you can believe it. So first of all, we're going to talk about 3 different libraries, which is crazy. To start, I want to share something that's really special. So a dear friend of mine for many, many years is a gentleman by the name of Richard Souther. And I've worked on albums with him in the past. Sitting at the gate in Portland, heading out for a small private show with Ad. Oh my gosh. Ah, cool. Well, tell him hi. He did a demo, and I didn't know this. He hadn't been touching keyboards for like a year. He had cancer on his arm, got rid of that, lost a whole lot of weight. They found it's not cancer confirmed, but they found spots on the lungs. And he's going in soon for tests to see whether the results are, and I didn't know this until this morning, but I sent him like 6 weeks ago, Del Norte, and I sent him my drums from Super Macho Drums. And he was all inspired, and I said, if you feel like writing a demo, I said, that'd be awesome. Go for it. And I didn't know that he had been dealing with these physical issues of such severity. And so he did an unbelievable demo. The drums are okay, but they were just a start. And so I took it much farther in the programming and the production and turned it into a really cool track. And I'm going to give you a link to download it in 96. I'll get it up on 48 kilohertz as well. Not everybody can play 96 kilohertz resolution. Last night, I don't know why, but I got inspired and I did a music video to this song. And it came out so awesome. I want to share that with you. So we're starting with a music video world premiere to a track that Richard Souther wrote after not playing on his musical spirit for like a year to record, I guess. And man, this came out so amazing. Just so cool. So this is Mogambo Rails, and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to silence my microphone, and please enjoy. Isn't that cool? So pretty amazing. Just wow. Honor to be a part of something like that. The whole, you know, the whole idea of, you know, the world is so busy, and you get out to these really cool places, and it charges the soul. And I'm using a screen. I'm not using any advanced video editing software. That was all Del Norte and Super Macho drums. That's it. Here, I can show you. Oh wait, let me go like this. Oh wait, cancel. I need to go back to this because it needs to. Hello, command 1 or 1. I need to have. Why won't it show me? Oh, you're being kind of funny. So, okay, hold on a second. It's not showing me what I want to see. 2, 3. Oh, this is weird. So, window. Screen sets 3. Open main window. There. Now I can close this. That was really weird. Because the movie was open and I closed the main window in Logic, it was gonna like close the whole song. I'm like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that. So here, check this out. This is a screen capture of the song. Let's open preview so we can see a little bit better. Da, 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 da. So there's the guitar hits, drums, which are doing a lot of the groove in it. Shadow kit being used. So that's one of the bonus libraries that now comes with Super Macho drums. It was part of Mega Macho drums. The Anabox kit, and then the kicks and stuff like that are from the Airwave Trans kit, or Trans, if we're in Belgium. And then here's the sounds that were used in the piece. And as you guys pointed out, there's 2 different patches from the keyboard category that use keyscape. Infinity Rhodes, and then I believe he had the piano, Infinity Piano. So you had both of these used in the song. So we'll come to this stuff in a minute. Initialize the multi. So if we go over here to Del Norte keys, and we modified the sounds a little bit to get them to fit the mix. You always I mean, these sounds, my goal is to make them really close to target for mixing, but you still have to add things to them, and you have to shape them, especially with something like Infinity, where there's so much. That's too much. And so, you know, it's cool for certain contexts, but if you need to change it, you can just go to the effects, to the reverb, and make this less, or just move the mod wheel, because I assigned this to the mod wheel, so as the mod wheel goes up, becomes normal. So there's that used, as well as the Infinity Piano for the middle section. And then I layered, he played this chord part here with the tricky synth, Tricky Watergate. I thought it was really clever how he used this sound. Synth, Tricky Watergate. So this is layered with the. He used the Amazonian velocity flute. That's a synth sound right here. At the beginning of the song with the melody. He also used, I thought it was really cool, at the very beginning, I did a cool trick where I reversed it and then processed it with like guitar rig and some other stuff. He used the BPM effects street band. So that was what opened the song, was this sound here. BPM effects street band. This is the Steve Taglioni patch. And he modified it. So I reversed it. He added some effects. But he played D. It's this sound and then processed with some additional like flanging or something. Or maybe that's it. It's kind of got that same vibe. So that was really cool, very clever. He did not do very good with his optimizations. He was using separate omnispheres for every track. You can see I added a few parts at the end. I added the Beautiful Future pluck to like add some bass things. I added just a couple small things at the end. The adding of the brass and the synth stuff to make the big choruses parts. This stuff in here. It wasn't so big this time. But I brought in this brass, you'll see right here. Right here, see right here? So that's the brass. And then the last time through, I have the synth, what's it, the Wells Sonoros was the sound I used to add even more to the sound to give it bigger. Very little processing. I was surprised how little processing as far as outside effects we used. He'd use some gain on a couple tracks for some reason to level things out. But I used just a simple little master EQ to, you know, tease the high end and tease the low end just a little bit. And then the mastering limiter from the Apollo. And that was it. That's pretty much just finding the right mix for things. I put kickstart on a couple things to give it a little bit of going away for the quarter note downbeats so that the bass would have a little bit more presence, especially the kick, without having to overwork the kick. So if you would like this, and if you'd like to play it in 96 kilohertz, here is the link. Now you guys that watch this recorded will not be able to see this link, but if you go to the Facebook Plugin Guru page, this link will show. I'll put it on the Facebook page for Plugin Guru. He's still froze till he. Is everything okay video wise? I just want to make sure it's. Oh yeah, it's this is fake video. Yes, that's not my video of this going on, if that's what we're talking about. That was a screen capture of the song for Mogambo for the final demo. Your camera is frozen. Oh no, dude, your face. Oh no. Okay, let's see here what's going on. Okay, let's try this again. Gee whiz, man. Can't get a break anywhere. Okay, get this over here. Now we get that over here. Sorry. Hopefully it's okay now. Do you see me? Let's get this back like this. Zoom out. I love technology, man. Okay, we're back to being beautiful. That's good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Wow. Thanks. Somebody likes the Frozen better. I'm going to play this video one more time because it's the world premiere and that previous version is gone. So you get to watch the video one more time. Lucky you. This is the world premiere of a demo song using only Del Norte patches and Super Macho drums, done by a dear friend of mine, Richard Souther. Let's go like this, like this. Yeah. So here we go. This piece, well, I'll talk about it more in a minute, but I gotta play it because I want to make sure this is part of the live stream. Actually, it's on YouTube as well. I'm gonna enable it. It's already uploaded to YouTube. I just have to make it so everybody sees, right? Oh, for the video, I use ScreenFlow, and I belong to a company called Video Blocks. I subscribe and pay, I think it's under $200 a year for a license to use any of their videos in my productions. And so, play it slower. Yeah, there's a middle section part when I'm driving in the car. I wanted to slow it down until it was like slow motion to really emphasize your nature. There's not a billion people around you like what you see before. Yeah, we had a technical issue. Sorry, guys. I had to actually quit the live stream because my video froze. This lovely computer just does funny things sometimes and I can't control it. But let me mute this and play. This is the world premiere of Mogambo Rails. Here we go. So I want a car that can go from driving on a road to hovering over a stream to flying above the ocean. That would be pretty cool. So,
low C.
Oh, hey, you're hearing what's coming next. So that's Del Norte and Super Macho Drums by Richard Souther. I did programming and production. There was some song ideas that went on a little bit too long. I shortened. It was a wonderful collaboration, and I'm just so thrilled to be able to share that with all of you guys. And the demo, if you want to download, hopefully I'm trying not to do stuff that's going to lock up my computer screen again, because that would be horrible. Subscribe to for videos. It's videoblocks.com. One word, videoblocks.com. Really good service. I really like. They keep adding content and doing good things. They now have this premium content from people you pay for, and in certain applications, I would understand where you'd want some of the higher quality, different content. But they have a lot of really good resolution video. So there is the link for the 96 kilohertz version of this song. I will also make a 48 kilohertz version of this song. And if you're watching this after the Saturday, July 29th live stream, that link will be on the Facebook Plugin Guru page in a post. Want stuff for climate change music? Yeah, they have a lot of stuff. You can do some search and see what they have. You don't have to buy anything or subscribe until you've done some search. And they don't have as much content in certain categories as I would like. But I just put in time-lapse for that. And it gave me all these really cool stuff. The idea of just being kind of high energy. A different way of showing the footage that I have at the beginning and the middle. I wanted to use that again in some kind of cool way. So the idea of going from nature to overpopulated and crazy, there's just so much going around. But then when the rhythm's there, and it's just like, it's kind of like you're back in nature. So that was the idea. So there we go. That was, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but right about here. Right. Oh, wait, it's a little bit earlier than this. Right here, that bridge, that's the bridge that my GoPro fell off from going the other way out of here. So yeah, this is that moment right there. That's there's actually a bump. If you see right there, there's a bump. That's what knocked the GoPro off on the way back the other direction. And going into that was, I believe, the Jedediah Smith. I think that was where I was at for that. So lovely. Came out very well. Very, very happy to have that as a demo. Shows a lot of sounds, doesn't it? So now we're going to talk sampling sessions. And then we're going to a whole different category with perspective, which is coming along really nicely. And I've got artwork from Matt Chowsky that I'm really happy with. So the perspective library is going to be coming out on August 4th during my Plugin Guru moving sale. There will be a new library you can buy, or buy other libraries that will be on sale. I have too much inventory I need to move before my virtual inventory I need to deplete before I move to my new place. But that sale will be important. Save a penny or two if you can, because I have some things I want to do to this new studio before I go in. I want to put hardwood floors instead of carpet, and I don't have the money to do that. So this sale will help me do that. But anyway, this is artwork. So I'll show you more of these photos, but that's a bridge with a different perspective of a bridge. You're looking down on it from my drone. And this library will come with a whole bunch of pictures. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, take a deep breath, and we're going to talk about sampling sessions. And a lot of you might have done sampling sessions with your synthesizers before, where you either use automated software and you, let's do this. Let me say movie, remove the movie for now. When you do synthesizer sessions and you're just playing a note on a synthesizer and it's playing some sort of a sound and you're recording it, that is totally different. Let's see if we initialize everything. If you have a synthesizer and you have, it's perfect. You control how long it's played. You control what the shape is. If that's not right and you want to have some sort of a, you have control over that. And you know, if that's not fast enough before you sample it, you get everything set in your synthesizer, and then it's consistent, and it's every time it plays, it's great. I've been involved in lots of sampling sessions, and when you go to working with acoustic instruments and real players, it's totally different. So I'm going to show you a little bit of an inside glimpse. It's a really cool process to bring Kevin Dietz, this cello player, to a studio in North Portland, where we set up. You got to realize these guys have no idea. He's an incredible player. He plays with all sorts of ensembles, symphonies. This is the microphone setup for the stereo mics. Believe it or not, those are the stereo mics used. I have an overview. This is showing the whole overview with this. There's a mono microphone here. There's a mono microphone right here, right by the bridge, below the bridge. And the stereo microphones here. So I have basically 4 different microphones, although for some reason one of the channels is missing. Great. Okay, well, you get to hear 3 of the 4 channels. Let me see if I have, yeah, I'm not going to go searching through all of these to find out which ones are missing. This is a version of the session that I prepared for this live stream. The master has all 4 tracks. So there's 4 microphones, and this is spinning now, so that's nice. What did we miss? Is audio everything working? I just want to make sure, because I'm so paranoid with how this is going sometimes. And now Logic is spinning, so we've got to wait a minute for whatever it's doing. Anyway, so we did this session with Kevin, and when you're recording cello and all these people, they don't know what they are going to need to provide. They are, how fast you want me to play? And it's, this is the engineer that I worked with. We used Nuendo. I had a keyboard set up with a feed from Nuendo going into my computer, my laptop, with an Apollo, so that I could record what Kevin was playing and then play it back for them so they could hear what I was doing. I could check to see if it was going to work the way that I wanted it to work, because I know what I want to get from this. And so when I'm going to play some of the audio. Here's some, I'll play some of the stuff that's been finalized and cleaned up a little bit, but here's original source.
All right.
So instead of it being playing, I'm explaining how I need notes that are just the note. We got a certain type of approach to how we're playing.
Downstroke, ring, open C.
And then we keep doing that same take over and over. We're checking signals. This was a little bit hot, so I had the engineer bringing down the signal a little bit.
Okay.
Let's see, hide this. Bring these down just a little bit. And I'm listening and recording.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
And explaining how it goes. So.
Yeah. Sorry. Low C, muted, short, downstroke.
Different approaches, muting it.
Gotcha. Yep. Was that like that, or was that? Is that?
Good energy, and it's out.
Got it.
It's almost like a guitar. This doesn't even look lined up right audio-wise, but it's playing right. So we go through and we have each of the notes up the keyboard played. And I'm listening to these takes to get the phrasing that I want, the attack that I want, the consistency that I want, and then we move on. Here's some C's.
All right, well, this is C2, and this is short down with a ring.
So it's a long process. This is right here in this very long, it goes on and on with different types of approaches, different techniques. I mean, we paused and stopped. This is the composite audio that I was given by the engineer. The other thing I'm really excited to try is usually cello stops at a certain point on the keyboard and you can't play above that. And I'm like, can you play these notes? He's like, yeah, no problem. So we're having cello play into ranges that with a classical proper library, they stop because violas and violins take over. But I want cello in other ranges and places that you haven't, it can play there. It sounds good to me, So then we had different techniques. Pizzicatos. Different ways of pizzicato. So every one of these is going to be a sample that I'll then go through, pick out which ones will work.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you recall, I sampled one of these as a test to show them what we were working on, and it was really cool. So I'll show that real quickly just to show you that from there it can end up it's going to be cool. So the process of acquiring the data requires really close listening to what someone is playing. You're looking for consistency. You're looking for categories so that it's in the same category. It's consistent in This is the downstroke. So each note that you sample pitch-wise, when you map it on the keyboard, it's not about, you know, these guys can be amazing virtuosos and so forth. But this is how I did Mega Magic guitars. We've done this for Mega Magic Bell's Winds. Kathy Talbot did this for herself in Los Angeles when she was doing Creature-esque.
Yep.
So a sample like that, when I get a hold of it, and there it is, and then I add the Mega Magic reverb to it, and I did this really quickly in the room wall, just so they could hear the way that it's going to go. So once I get this all mapped out for lots of samples across the keyboard, it's going to be really lovely. Now, my work now, what I am doing is going through and shortening things. I'll show you a little of this real quickly. These are the samples without talking. A little bit talking, because I want to know what's...
Low C?
So these are straight tones. Then this is open vibrato. So we have...
Low C.
And it's very hard to get open vibrato on low C. I had him do some other notes where he... And you hear how that note kind of... That's not a keeper. So I have all of these takes. That's a good one. And then I'm going to loop it in there so that it sustains forever. Or else we'll put magic reverb on it. Hear how some have different attacks? Different pitch, a little bit different harmonic there. So you have to have lots of takes. It's not just one take. And this is probably nothing compared to the guys that make the really huge complex libraries. I've heard stories where they even have the players come back multiple times to replay specific notes at specific velocities, all sorts of things to get it right. You try to get it right in the recording session process part, but Vienna Symphony Libraries, they have contracted the players come back. They have documented how everything is set up microphone-wise so they can get it reset exactly like it was. And they'll have the player a week or 2 or 3 later come back and play new notes to help them perfect the map once they find out where there are weaknesses and where there's samples that don't match well when they're playing a melody. Every time you hit the A, it pops up because that sample played was... So it can get really carried away. I'm not getting to anywhere near that level of pickiness. This is a whole different vibe for a library than that. I've been involved in sessions like that. And with piano, it's just insane because you have places on the piano where certain strings change from this wiring to not wiring, and the transition, you try to make it as natural as you can. And you have a technician that comes in and hardens the hammers on a note so that it matches the notes below it. You know, I mean, just crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff that you go through to get perfect samples. And after this session, he's like, wow. He goes, I will never think of my cello the same way because it opens up. You're analyzing on a microscopic level your instrument. It's not about how you're playing your phrase and the technique, all the things that they spend all these years at school learning and studying all these amazing pieces. It's about playing the same note with the same approach, with the same energy as you play up the keyboard and or as you play up the scale in pitch. So it's a whole different mindset. When you're dealing with synthesizers, you don't have to think about any of that because it's consistently doing your meow or whatever it is that you're sampling. It's totally different once you have real players in the room that you're recording. And so you have to be more listening, and you have to have done it, do this as much as you can if this is something you want to practice. The more you do this, the more you're hearing of how something will transfer to a sampler. That, like, premonition or whatever, gets better. It gets a lot better. So I want you to be, Spitfire does a great job with this. There's a number of companies out there that do just incredible work with libraries of real instruments. The guys that do Symphobia, I love their libraries. Native Instruments, I don't know, they're licensing stuff, so I can't say that it's them in most cases because they license somebody else to do it for them. They're very smart at doing it that way. It's interesting. So sampling sessions with acoustic instruments, it's different. It's listening and being consistent. The other advantage I will share with you is because I have all of these takes, right? When I have all 4 of these samples, I'm going to try to create a ensemble of 4 cellos, because each one of those is a cello played differently. You could layer those up. There will be very little phase because its fingers on the key, on the frets, and the way that he's playing it is different every time. So that's 4 cello players right there that you just heard. And you layer those together, get the mix right, pan it a little bit, and I might be able to make some really cool ensemble type of things from a solo session. So there's all sorts of techniques you can do once you have somebody playing multiple notes of an acoustic instrument. It's acoustic, and every time you play it, it's different. So you can layer. I haven't done this, but guitar layered would be really cool maybe. There's all sorts of possibilities to it. So I've started the process. I'm a little ways into it, but I got a long ways to go to get these guys to get all this chopped up. It's a lot of work, but it's going to be great when it's done. I'm really excited. So. Hear him talking to himself, because once you start to do this and you correct someone a couple of times and say, here's what I'm looking for, here's what it needs to have, a lot of times he'd start something going, oh no, wait, oh, this wasn't consistent, let me do that again. They start to understand, and then then the synergy happens. The engineers, I've worked with him before, we've done this before, so he knows the process. So it's an interesting thing to think about when you're trying to get an acoustic instrument to give you something you're going to play on the keyboard. When you get to these libraries, let's do this. Let's call up one more. Let's call up Contact real quick. When you're trying to get a library that has this consistency, I'll show you real quickly. Please wait while it loads. Let's say that we go down here to like here, Project Sam. This is brass. Brass is really, really hard. So a horn player, every time they play it, their lips are different. So we can look at these notes. Let's get rid of the script editor. Oh, we don't see what's playing. Auto select the group. But you hear how it's different. That note has different things going on than that one. So when you're trying to get this energetic brass ensemble to have the same energy from here, that attack. The attack is different. for Korg, if you want to hear something crazy story-wise, back in the day, Michele Patchouli would take the attack from one sample of a trombone that was really great and graft that attack to the other samples around it to get it so that it was consistent. So when you're playing brass in a workstation, in some cases, we don't do this so much anymore. There's other techniques and ways to do that. But back in the O1W, the Triton, Trinity, those types of workstations, when we did those, some of those instruments, the attack is so consistent. You're like, wow, how is it so consistent? It's because it's the same attack. It's kind of the Del Norte, but taking a real sample and actually grafting it. So if you get to the solo instruments, like Symphobia 2 has a lot of legato ensembles, like solo flute. Let's check this out for a second. When you're dealing with these, oh, come on. When you're dealing with solo instruments, it gets so much more tricky. We gotta wait. Willing to pre-order, pay now. You guys are awesome. Hear how the attack's different? So they have dynamics. Where I think it's actually fading between one sample to the next. I'm not even familiar with some of the techniques. It gets so carried away what is happening in the mapping. But here you can see all the samples. Every note. That last one was a stretch. So it takes an awful lot of time to get it consistent. And realize that's just like one snapshot of one time of a flute player playing that. And every time a flute player plays, it's different. That's why it will never replace the real thing, in my opinion, because a real flute player is so much more dynamic and so much more control and flexibility, all that stuff. That's why I'm more interested in finding ways to use these acoustic instruments to make new sounds, new things that, I mean, I'm not going to try to compete with Project Sam and Vienna and all those guys. Those guys have been researching and doing sampling at a very, very high level for many years. And that's just, I don't need to go there. So I have another way to approach it. So that's what I'm trying with these sessions. And this is the source that I have. So that concludes our sampling session kind of preview of what I'm working on. Do you guys have any questions about this? I'm looking at the list. Any questions, shoot them up. I'm going to start the discussion on what's coming next. So I've been working and having a lot of fun with a new library. And I don't know, it's a loosely thought out analogy, but the analogy is that synthesizer waveforms, depending on how you program the synthesizer waveform, we recorded it at 48 kilohertz because most hardware doesn't play back at 96, so you'd have to sample rate convert it. And you lose something when you sample rate convert. I've yet to hear somebody record at 96 and then sample convert to 48 and have it be something changes. And I don't want anything to change. These recordings that's what it is. So I'm doing 48 kilohertz to keep it as a master. This is a recording and I don't have to convert it. I don't have to change it in any way. Let's see. For a new synth sampled voice, do you really need every note on the scale? No. You can get away with, in some cases, just one sample. But like we've talked about, and I've shown you, let's do it this way. Let's initialize. Del Norte is a great example of this, because a single sample, you're going to get this brittle thing that happens to the sounds. Let's take something in the synth category, like Planet Blue String. This is one sample. And as you choose the different samples, it's a different vibe. And as you go up the keyboard, that means the high range is going to sound even. But now down low doesn't have anywhere close to the bravado of. Now, when I mapped all of these to make the multi, so we can go over here to Del Norte, to synth, Planet Blue Strings, the whole range. So this is doing by fifths, approximately. I fudged a little bit with my map. So I was using the C1, C2, so I skipped an octave for the low range, C3, and then I wanted more in the middle, so from C4, we go to, I think G5, C5, and then G5, C6. Some maps are different. I would map them across the keyboard to find which ones I wanted to use for the 7 samples. The original map had 12. So when this comes out for Contact, it's going to be different in that we'll have all of the samples from C1 all the way to C6 that I sampled. For most of them, those show up in the Contact version of the maps. So it's lovely. But you can get away with a fifth, maybe third. It just depends on how accurate you want to be and what your target is. My target in the back of my mind, I realized there was going to be Omnisphere that was going to be a limitation of up to 7. I wanted 1 for the attack because that was the other side of this library, was to include something like this that you could layer with the strings, and without it, you don't have that. So I needed 1 space for the attack. So that gave me 7 samples. But there was 12 that I took, in most cases, from most of the virus synthesizer sounds that I captured. Question. Building a template in Omnisphere 2 to work faster is a good idea. You can build templates in what? Ivar, I don't know what that word is. You can build a template as a way to speed up the process. If you especially set up all 8 and then called up different patches and then save this as like a songwriting start, that works very well. Quran is great. Yeah. Perspective. Yes. So you don't have to sample every note, but fifths, do some tests. It depends on the instrument too. Some synthesizers that have a certain especially one other thing you need to be aware of is motion. Whether you allow there to be motion or not, and the type of motion. If it's rhythmic based, if there's a rhythm to it, you're going to have problems as you go up and down the keyboard. So you'll need more samples or else remove it. Or here's Shady Cove, which has a motion, but it's like Wave Station-esque, where it's not tempo based. So each sample has a motion to it, and they're not connected. You know? There's this motion, but it's not. There's a couple others. Cave Junction also has a motion. And it worked out okay to let it have this strong motion, but it's smooth. So you have to kind of like think of how you're going to use this in the future, and if you can have the motion, if the PWM is doing a really strong rhythm, that might be an issue as you go up the keyboard. So there's all sorts of things like that you have to think about when you're making these types of libraries. Okay. Any other questions? And yeah, templates in different genres is great. I will say that something like the Airwave libraries are really fun. You could consider a lot of these to be templates when you call them up. Same with, I don't know if I have it in here, but Radio Ready, these are templates. It's all set up. So you say Bad Cab and you have the sounds for Abacab, basically, which you can now use for anything. You have a bass on channel 1, and if I stick over here and quickly set this to be 1, so I can 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is a whole bunch of things on, that's the whole idea with Radio Ready, is these are preset templates that if you, I Want to Live, you have 8 sounds. I don't know why it's, you know, off you go. So that was the idea with Radio Ready, is it's template based. So you just call these up, and then each of these patches got saved out as separate patches. So yes, templates is a great way to work, and I have some libraries that work that way. So it just depends on what you want to do. Now perspective is at this moment going to be different. I think I'm going to do it just as a single MIDI channel, doing a single play a note and oh yeah, get that. Let's chill it in our tempo. Now the concept for this library, we're switching gears. We're done with sampling sessions. We're done with questions on sessions, right? So let me do some setting up. Let's zoom this in a little bit more so you can see more of this. How's that? Now the idea is that synthesizer waveforms, this is mostly waveform based for all these not all of them, not 100%, but it seems that way. I'm trying to keep it very synthy, retro, electronic. There's a couple, I want to ask your opinion on a couple of these, but the idea being that a synthesizer waveform, when you look at it based on filters, effects, and so forth, you come up with all sorts of different perspectives. So that's the idea with this. I'm going to include a whole bunch of photos as the other part of the library, showing things that you would see from a different perspective, you would recognize maybe in a different way than like this. That's a bridge, but this perspective, you see it as something different. you know? That's a beautiful area in outside of the Dalles with wildflowers. That's the forests. So the perspective changes when you see things. That's a golf course. There's actually, I noticed, there's a golfer with a flag down here putting. I hope I didn't disturb him. Baseball diamond, a mall, ocean waves, parking lot, a park, the ocean. There's a seagull here. Those are all sea lions laying and lounging on the rocks. That's a sea stack that looks fairly solid from the shoreline, but when you're above it, you have a whole different perspective of it. That's a stream. Those are wildflowers, but a whole different perspective. So I'm going to include these photos and maybe some wallpapers. I might have Matt make some wallpapers as well. So perspective is about synthetic. It's all rhythmic because it's, well, there's one sound so far that's not rhythmic, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I want to go like this. Is this all around Portland? It's mostly around Portland. Mostly, yeah. Some at Oceanside, places on the Oregon coast. But I haven't been anywhere else. There's a couple of those that were from Northern California. Del Norte-esque. But different library. It's a different library. Different concept. So let me show you these. Always a mystery. The other thing with perspective, when you hear these separate, it's a whole different thing. Oh, Galactic Highway's not playing right. It's a whole different thing when you hear them this way versus together. So that's the other concept behind this is yes. Yes, be careful with laws with drones, for sure. So here's Busy Bixby. So again, you hear them separates. Right? Okay, counting tentacles. I had someone send me a request to do get inspired by Osric Tentacles, which is a really cool band. And they do all this polyrhythmic kind of stuff. So, oh, you know what? Settings are, I can't tell you why, but things are not playing 100% like they're supposed to. But there's reasons, and those will be made clear in the future. It's just not my place to say anything. But these are not all working exactly as I expect them to. So the process now, just so I share what we're doing, we're going through each one of these, and I'm naming, as you'll see, boom, all the patches have names. And then I get this to my assistant Taylor, and his job is to save out each patch as a patch with the tagging and stuff, so that I can get these all named, come up with the names, and then keep making, because I have more to make before the library is released. Now this is a question. I'm not even gonna, no, we won't even do it. But there's, yeah, okay, well, I'll show you. There's a couple in here that are inspired, sometimes very closely, by, we all know this, right? If you know electronic synthesis music, The mod wheel up gives you a different melody idea. Hey, Tim. So the question is, some of these are very close. Like, is that too close? I don't even know if I'm breaking copyright laws by having arpeggios play the arpeggiated part, the riffs and stuff are not. It's close, but it's not exactly what he played. This is a new part that I'm adding. Oh, I love this. Check this out. I wanted to get that busy. If you listen to the original, there's this, right? So, and I have it set part 5 so that the arpeggio pattern actually is off. It's just a little bit off in speed. So it's not even cycling at the speed of everybody else, so it's free. You'll recognize this one too. Let's see. I think it's, well. Let's go a little bit faster. She needs to be like. Mod wheel up. You put a huge drum. It's great. So Speedy Racer. So we're having, it's really fun to do these things. Train Lovers is the one that goes forever. It's got the 32 step or 32 measure, I think. I think it's part 3. Yeah. Mod wheel. And we're halfway through the arpeggiator pattern. And this is one sound where this particular bass sound is using a bass and will include the bass from Del Norte. Just because there's nothing else I can find in the library that has that really huge diffused unison. I looked everywhere. But there's nothing else in the library that does that, so. So that will be included with the library. We did this last week. Remember Zinger Dance It? I added a little bit more to it, but. So that's cool. And again, perspective. That by itself could be used in so many different ways. Then I added a deep bass to it. Again, these are not playing 100%. I can explain in the future. I can't explain right now. So it's coming along very well. The photos are kind of fun inspiration. Lots of fun electric. There's more stuff to do. It'll probably be about an 80 patch library. It'll be at a nice price for the sale. Coming up. I'm looking at comments really quick. Yeah, this is like the first library with... I haven't done a lot of these. I worked with Chord Karma back in the day, and it had smart, intelligent chord recognition. So you could play chords, and it would shift the notes of the arpeggiators. So if something was minor when you played a minor chord, when you played a major chord, it'd be major. Omnisphere doesn't have any of that. And so I've kind of shied away from getting into things that play, you know, the... Because now when you play a certain... What if you want that to be major, you'd have to go in and fix the notes. So I've kind of shied away from that. But this is the library where I said, you know, we're just going to do all sorts of phrases. You'll tell what key and melody it's in. And if you need things to be a little bit different in pitch and so forth, you can adjust. So yeah, any questions? Yes, Karma was great. I still have a Karma. Use Chemistry 123 from Stephen K. Even Dune 2, none of this stuff has intelligent chord recognition. Stephen K does. I don't know if is Chemistry a plug-in. I'm getting nice carpet. No, I'm getting rid of carpet. Yeah, Stephen K has a number of apps that are kind of Karma related. I don't know if he has a plug-in that you can plug into. It'd be cool if he did. I haven't looked into that lately. But check this out. This is cool. This is the dimensions for the studio room. So we went over and we plotted and measured everything. So I can get acoustic people and sound people and stuff to be working on it. We're going to take the carpet out. Here's the room. I'll show you the room. Let's see. Where do I have the room? I have Dean 2 Synth Master and Serum. I absolutely know Omnisphere. Still love the plugin gurus. I've learned a lot. But is it a must-have? Well, Omnisphere is like nothing else. Dune 2 has a lot to offer. Dune 2 is really cool. But I would say you should get Omnisphere 2 if you... well, for one reason, I have a whole bunch of libraries, and I'd like you to be a customer that buys all the libraries. So, yes, you should own it. And because of all the samples inside of it that are unique, and the ability you can put your own samples into it, which the other instance you mentioned, you can't do that. The last almost 2 years, all my libraries are sample-based. So when you go to these types of things, these are totally new samples that don't even exist in the previous world as far as... Oh yeah, those sound sources are not loaded, so I can't show you. Bummer. I didn't have everything set up for this. I almost had everything set up right. But all these different libraries that are sample-based, I don't even think... Do I have pads? I can't remember if I'm going to get error message. Yeah. When I'm working on libraries and stuff, I tend to thin down certain categories so that things will load up faster. So I can't show you. Tone 2 products. John, make libraries for these. I like Tone 2 a lot. Nemesis is great. Icarus is great. We'll see. Time to tell. The problem, I'll be really, and we've talked about this before, customers that own Omnisphere are legit and buy libraries. And customers that own a lot of the other plugins out there don't buy the libraries that we've created. The Zebra 2 library has not sold well. The Serum libraries do okay, but it's, you know, there's a big difference between that and the customers that buy the Omnisphere libraries. I'm afraid to support smaller companies because the people that use those synthesizers in a lot of cases torrent the synthesizers, and so they're going to torrent the sounds. So it keeps me being a little shy. Am I going to be able to pay my rent and all my other bills if I make a library for such and such? But we'll see. I don't want to be too shy that I don't support new synthesizers, right? I didn't catch the Euro Thieves. Who's that? Never thought about the pirate aspect. Yeah, I sell, you know, I'm really happy if I sell in the hundreds a library for Omnisphere, and I'll go to the torrent sites and it's been downloaded 5,000 times. Or not so much for Omnisphere because it's not pirated as much, but for the other libraries, it's pretty huge numbers of downloads. Casey did this unbelievable library for Spire, and he has yet to earn what it took time-wise to make that library, and it's been over a year. So it makes us really shy to want to put the effort into the library. I know what I'm going to be able to do with an Omnisphere library support-wise. I don't know what I would be able to do if I did a library for another synthesizer for a smaller company. There's not that many customers, and how many of them are going to be legit and buy a copy of the library? Because especially when you start getting into more of the dance synthesizers versus the synths used by professionals for film, for TV, for music production, I think Omnisphere is kind of a must-own in everybody's toolkit. The other synthesizers are kind of options. Do you want this? You want Spire? You want Serum? You know, different vibes and personalities. But yeah, that's I have to think about that stuff a little bit because I have bills and spousal support and all sorts of stuff that make it be what it is. Yeah, none of my libraries are protected. These are all just download and install. I don't have serial numbers on any of them. So I just trust you guys to all be legit cool customers. Cool. So any questions? About to wrap up for the day. Jar. Yes. I love, and it's so simple. I mean, the best FM synth. Oh Lord, that's not easy to answer. What FM do you want? I love the synthesizer from Tone 2. I've shown this, I think, last week, Nemesis. Or I showed it to someone this week in a live lesson that I did with them. But this synthesizer has Neo FM. If we go to... that kind of FM is... really cool. And it doesn't require the 6 operators and trying to figure out who's the modulator and who's the carrier. So it's a very unique sound. The other FM synths that I like, Spire obviously has a really nice... it's very simple. It's not as complex as something like... let's see, find it right here. Reveal. Spire has... Let's see if we... If we were to make this be a sine wave... Then you have the modulating waveform. You can get some really nice you can get some fairly intense go to oscillator 2. You can get some very gnarly FM because it's wavetables in an FM environment. That's very cool. The standard FM synth that is still great is FM8 because it has the multi-operator layout. You can go over here to how you configure things, whether this is going to be modulating this. Is this also modulating this? There's also cool abilities. If you go to the browser, to like Toxic, I never did do Toxic 2 yet. So, and these are using fairly complex setups where you can choose who's modulating who as you're building. I built this really complex little set here. That level of control is something you don't find with the simpler FM systems that are out by other synthesizers. They just don't get carried away. The sale on Spire is over. That was a limited time sale that they had going on. Any other questions, my friends? Since you do your regular live streams, there rarely are some normal videos. Yes. I know. I do some videos. I did a couple last week. I did 4 videos last week. It's going to get harder as I get closer to buying this house and moving to do more than the live stream on the weekends, especially when I'm trying to release libraries and play with my kid and stuff like that. So, hope to see you make a collection of demos. Yes. Thank you, Ivar. Let me know. Anyone got any experience with Blue Cat MB7? Not familiar with NB7. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Yes, if we wanted to do demos, let me know. I'm gonna go. I'm kind of stalling here. Nice chat. Good to see everybody. It's been a fun live stream. So send me questions if you have any for next week's live stream. I don't have anything set up. If you want to do a demo song, we should do a thing, do a demo, get a discount or something like that. I'll look at doing something like that. That'd be fun. We were thinking of doing demo competitions, all sorts of things, but buying a house has slowed everything down. That's a lot of work to get ready for this whole addition to the world. And I'm very excited. It's going to be cool. So I thank you as always for your support. And we will talk to you soon. I'm going to enable the video so you can watch the new video Mogambo Rails by Richard Souther. That will be on the YouTube channel shortly. I will put links to the 96 and a 48 kilohertz version of the song onto the Facebook page, the Plugin Guru Facebook page. And next week, I guess on Friday, I've got a library coming out. So I got to get busy and get that all wrapped up. Gonna be fun. And we'll have a sale starting next week for the weekend. That will be the moving sale. So get ready for that. And we will see you next Saturday. And we'll think of something fun to talk about. Okay? Be well. Thank you again for joining. One last check on the live stream. Oh, hey, give me a location shout out. Where are you at? Where's everybody at? There's 50 people in the room. Tell me where you're at. Shout out, Las Vegas, Orlando, Holland, Maine, Sweden, London, Finland, Germany, Munich, Denmark, Boston, Dublin. I love this. I love seeing where everybody's at. It's just so cool to be able to talk to everybody on such a global scale. It's Melbourne, United Kingdom, Guildford, Blackpool, United Kingdom, for BioDude. Thank you, BioDude. Canada, Wales, UK, Amsterdam. Awesome. Southern California, Long Beach, soon to Oregon. Oh, Jocko, congrats, man. Are you moving? That's great. The synth in the background is my Moog Voyager. It's a Voyager. It's nice and green. They don't make them anymore. All right. Be well. Have a great weekend, great week. If I could just say, on my website, if you have a minute to write a review for any libraries you own, please do so. I have fixed, hopefully, so that you can leave ratings and comments. And that would be very helpful. All right? All right. Be well, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace, everybody. Thanks for joining.